want Medicare for all. Do something. They're the ones that have a principled agenda that they are going to put forth that all the Democrats have run from in under the guise of we have to be moderate and we have to be centrist. But that doesn't appeal to changing the culture and dynamic of how this government should work by the people, for the people, of the people.
Hey guys, welcome to my brother's Ballot. I'm your boy Poe Theory. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. What is Stephen A. Smith talking about? We all know Stephen A. Smith, huge sports commentator. He was on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and Stephen A. Smith, for some reason, feels that he should and can run for president. And so, of course, politics came up while he was on The Daily Show, and Jon Stewart really, in a very nice, nasty way, really held Stephen A. Smith's ideas and viewpoints feet to the fire, and it was appreciated. Let's get into some of my favorite clips about this.
About ourselves. We ain't got time for all that. We don't care whether he's in jail or not. We might care if he's in the White House or not, but we don't care whether he's in jail or not. And if you're the left and you engaged in what the right would say is lawfare, trying to use the courts to keep from having to compete with him, and then you're putting forth some of these policies, whether it's transgender issues or other stuff that they would bring up, you had a lot of people that saying that's not where our focus should lie. We're not
But
trying
don't you
to
think that's their focus?
Whose focus?
The right.
Okay.
I feel like the right.
Agreed. I'm so tired of this narrative where people feel that the left was so hyper focused on transgender rights or so focused on identity politics, when in actuality, that would be the right. The right are the ones that were spending millions of dollars in the last campaign. Speak about and to put the fear in the hearts of everyday Americans about transgender athletes coming in and stripping all of the hard work of your daughters that are in sports. Again, yes, does it happen? But it is not it's not prevalent enough for that to sway the election. I want to say about 4% of voters said that anti-trans policies influenced their vote. Analysts regularly concluded anti-trans attacks fell flat and couldn't rally sufficient support from either side. So that just goes to show that this narrative that people love to continue to push, that the Democrats and the left were just beating a dead horse regarding trans issues, when that is not the case. There was over $215 million that was spent on anti-trans ads, outpacing spending on housing or immigration ads. So if you want to talk about who was making the trans issue such a huge thing, it wasn't the left, it was the right.
It's easy to paint the extreme and to create a hyperbolic vision of the left as this woke army. I think it's.
And again, the word woke, you got to give credit where credit is due. The way that the right has bastardized the word woke and taken a word that was very specific to my community, which was about being aware, being conscious of the world around you and how the systems of this country and the world at large affects people of color, Black people specifically, and marginalized groups. And now the word woke has been bastardized to the point that people don't even truly know its origin and where it actually comes from.
That was a strategy that was going to be a winning strategy for them.
But then how is it the left's fault if it's not real?
Because you got to know what works and what doesn't and fight fire with fire. You got to know how to win it, how to win.
They called him Hitler.
Excuse me. Well, did that work?
No.
Did that work?
No.
Exactly.
Well, let's be very clear. I'm not one of those people that believes that it's a bridge too far to call someone Hitler, especially when Hitler didn't start off as Hitler. I love to always give this example. All of the Trump supporters in his first iteration, and I'm not speaking of the everyday voters, I'm speaking of the Mark Espers, Alyssa Farah Griffin on The View, all of these people that continue to tell us, don't believe your lying eyes. Oh, you are being hyperbolic. You are, he's not that bad. Excusing away everything. Oh, he didn't mean when he said these racist things. And then when January 6th happens, they're shocked. They're gagged. They can't believe it. And it's like, but we've been telling you that this would happen. And now we're in his second term, and the same thing is happening where we are sounding off the alarms and everyone is telling us that we are being dramatic. This is how a country, how a people sleepwalks into fascism. Because I don't think a lot of people understand that when they say, oh, the institutions held, institutions are made of people. And we see how fickle our elected leaders can be.
The man rolled down the escalators in 2015. Okay, he's dominated the GOP and the Republican Party since that moment in time. Who the hell has done that for the left? It was Hillary's turn in 2016, even though Bernie was gaining traction. In 2020, Representative Clyburn had to come to the rescue in South Carolina in order for Joe Biden to even be relevant. And then obviously with COVID and everything that had transpired.
Now, I do agree with that. The DNC has royally screwed up this country, essentially. The majority of left-leaning people did not want Joe Biden. They did not want Hillary Clinton, but the DNC put their finger on the scale. There's even a story coming out right now about David Hogg, who is a co-vice chair for the DNC. You know, he was talking like, yo, let's clean house. Let's start primarying these folks. Do you know they held another election and got him out? Like, come on.
Biden promised to be a transitional president, a one-term president. I'm just here to be as a stopgap to make sure that we can return to normalcy. And then the second he got in and there was no red wave in 2022, he said, hell with that, I ain't leaving. And then what happened?
Once you touch the ring, though. Once you touch the ring.
There you go. It's an addiction. It's an addiction, right? And then sure enough, when the red wave didn't happen and the Democrats won more than anybody expected them to in 2022, they let them get away with it. And think about it. You call yourself.
I agree with that too. Biden should have been gone immediately. If you see any other videos that I've ever done, you know I feel that way about Biden. Biden is the reason that we have Trump.
You call yourself the left, you call yourself a progressive party, and you are standing up at the State of the Union, clapping, and chanting 4 more years for a man that was going to be 82. Once the inauguration day took place, with 4 more years. And then America looked at you and said, have you lost your ever-loving mind? That's what the hell happened. It's very...
When you talk about, so that's two separate things. One is they allowed what people would consider to be a centrist, old guard Democrat to run again for president. And then you say the progressive left wing is the one that didn't. They didn't choose Joe Biden. They don't have the power in that party. Chuck Schumer is out there, you know, writing 8 strongly worded questions.
Let's be very clear. I think we have to stop calling the Democratic Party at large the left. They aren't the left. We progressives are the left. The progressives, as he had previously just stated, the progressives, we didn't want Joe Biden. That is not what we wanted at all, especially after what his administration had done in Gaza. And so there has always been this weird conflation, especially as of late, where they keep saying that the reason that these Democrats lost was because of these far left policies. Meanwhile, when we talk about the Kamala Harris running such a far left campaign, she campaigned with Liz Cheney 4 times. 4 times. And you're trying to tell me Liz Cheney being a part of any Democratic campaign could be viewed as progressive? Again, guys, it's these type of conversations that really irritate me, because he's on the news pushing this narrative, which is not true. I think the best way to sum it up, here comes another centrist Democrat blaming the progressives for a centrist Democrat losing. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, please, because it helps the channel. Peace.